as for the overview, this collaboration for Revit really sits in the new or in the current cloud approach that Autodesk is taking, which we can all put under the umbrella, if you will, of the future of making things. If you haven't heard of this concept, the future of making things, feel free to look it up on the web. You'll see some interesting webcasts and videos around that concept. Usually a future of making things overview can take up to an hour. I'm not going to do that here. I'm just going to briefly give you an overview of how the world is changing, if you will, because that's really what the future of making things is all about. So if you look at how people are working today, and we put that under the topic yesterday, then it's really about having different applications to run their design, to optimize their design. We're really talking about applications that are running on a desktop, and from my point of view, when it comes to data management and a collaborative environment, then what is happening right now is that we see a lot of people, they do indeed collaborate, obviously, but it's truly sort of a locally collaborative environment. It means that within a company, it's all good. We use, for Revit, for instance, we use work sharing or Revit server, but things start to get a little bit more difficult when it comes to exchanging data with the outside world. And that's really what we see happening with the future of making things, how the world is being reshaped, if you will. It's not just an evolution, it's more of a revolution, if you will. And there's three pillars to this future of making things, and you'll see that collaboration for Revit is really aligned with that philosophy. These three pillars are obviously, the first one is how the web is changing everything. I mean, all of us, when we look at bank accounts, we're all using web interfaces to look at our bank accounts. We order things through the web on specific companies that provide tools and products through web interfaces. A second aspect of the web is that we can use that power of the web to do highly advanced calculations. So that's one aspect. That's the web that's changing everything. I mean, if you look at that power of the web, it means that we can basically use just about any machine out there with a connection to the cloud and run simulations on it. There's whole cloud farms of machinery, of servers, if you will, that provide us the help and the need to do advanced calculations. The beauty also of this sort of interfacing is that, first of all, it's going to be faster, but second of all, if you think of it, if we had to do a rendering in the past, we hit the render button and we had to wait for like 4 hours or 8 hours or whatever to get a decent image, a decent rendering out of our product or out of our design. The thing with the cloud now is that we can fire this up, everything gets uploaded to the cloud, and we can basically go home and look at the results later that night by having an email that says to us, well, your rendering has been finished, here it is. So that's the second. That's the first pillar. It's the cloud that's changing everything. The second pillar is really the use of materials, if you will. I mean, if you look at the construction industry and how prefab and how 3D printers actually are being used, there's actually 3D printers that print concrete these days. That's also an aspect of the world that is changing. I mean, we could even get customized earplugs for iPods or iPhones that just come out of a machine somewhere in the world and get it sent to us immediately, if you will. Nike is also developing, for instance, sports shoes that are completely customized to the user, all based upon some interaction with the user, uploading the information and basically getting sent that final product into the mail, if you will. The third aspect, which is kind of critical, especially when you look at collaboration for Revit, again, which I'll talk about in a second, obviously, is how our end users, the project owners, if you will, the building owners, become more and more adamant. They want to understand what is happening with their design, with the design of their building, the second design starts, if you will. So we need to come up with an interface, if you will, that allows greater flexibility for these customers to look at our design. So really what I'm saying here is that if you look at what I just mentioned, applications and desktop and locally collaborative environments, we're really going through, if you look at data management in specific, we're really moving from a locally collaborative environment to a shared environment, if you will.